co-author of a book called Fusion, The New Way of Marketing, which is all about how businesses can market themselves cost effectively in the social media age. And the reason I'm here today is I'm also one of the trainers at a company called Business Training Made Simple, where we provide training courses on things like social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google AdWords, Google Analytics, and all the different ways that you can do business online. So what I'm going to do today is just in the next half hour give you a bit of a taster of some of the things that we cover on those courses by going through with you some of the ways you can drive people to your website and then increase the chances of them turning into customers or turning into inquiries once they're actually there. Okay? So, as you're probably aware, there are all sorts of different ways that you can drive traffic to a website. There are what I would call some of the old-fashioned offline methods, such as advertising, PR, business cards, etc. There's social media. There's social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And the one I'm going to talk to you about today is this one down here, Google AdWords. Because obviously we've only half an hour, I can't go into all of these, so I'm going to focus on AdWords. And the reason I've picked that is because, for reasons that I'll go into later, I think for most of you here today, Google AdWords is the one that's likely to give you the fastest results. And also because it's been shown to be the method of driving traffic to your site that tends to generate the best quality visitors. I'll show you what I mean by that. This is a graph showing some survey results, a survey done by HubSpot a little while ago, where they looked at all sorts of different websites across all kinds of different sectors and looked at where they were getting their visitors from and which of those sources had the best conversion rate. And by conversion rate, we're talking about how many of those visitors bought something or submitted an inquiry or something like that. And as you can see here, the paid search, which is the Google AdWords basically, is far and away the best performing in terms of conversion rate, followed by email marketing, followed then by social media, which Michelle's going to be talking about after this seminar, and then organic traffic, the ones you get from SEO, so way down there with like half the conversion rate that you're getting from AdWords. So that's what we're going to focus on for the purposes of today. So what is AdWords? Here's an overview of what it is. Out of interest, show of hands, anyone using AdWords themselves in their business at the moment? Okay, good, few of you. Okay, well what AdWords is a system for getting adverts for your website to appear on Google search results. So this is a typical Google search results screen where I've gone on and I've searched for something, in this case analytics training course, and these are the results that Google comes up with. Now the ones from here downwards, they're what are called the natural or the organic results. And they're the ones that have got there by doing SEO, by doing search engine optimization. So in other words, they've done stuff to the content and the structure of their website to make it as attractive as possible to Google. So as when someone types in analytics training course, Google says, well, of the 5.2 million websites I know about that are relevant to this, these are the ones that are the most relevant. And then at the top here, we've got the first of the Google AdWords results, these three results here, okay, starting with the one for Business Training Made Simple at the top and working down to the other two there. And they also appear down the right-hand side. And as you can see, each ad's got a headline, a couple of lines of descriptive text, and the address of the website. And what happens then is if someone clicks on one of those ads, they get taken through to the corresponding website. And what makes this very different from most other forms of advertising is it's what's called pay-per-click advertising, okay? Not paper-clips, as somebody thought I said the other day. I'm not into stationery or anything like that. This is pay-per-click. So unlike most forms of advertising where you pay for your advert to appear, with this you're only paying if and when someone clicks on your particular advert and gets taken through to your website. So it's a much lower risk than a lot of forms of advertising. Because, you know, if you put an advert in the local paper and it costs you a couple £100, if you've had no response to that, no phone calls at the end of the week, you can't get your money back. Whereas with this, you're only paying if people actually respond. So the way it works is, first of all, you give Google a list of keywords. In other words, you say to them, here is a list of the search terms that my potential customers might type into Google when they're looking for the products or services that I sell. So in the case of Business Training Made Simple, our keywords are things like analytics training course, Facebook training, social media training, etc., etc. You then write your own ads, and you can have more than one ad if you want, and these are the ads which will appear in response to someone typing in one of your chosen keywords. And then finally, you pick which landing page on your website you want people to be sent to once they've clicked on your ad. You've got a fair degree of control as well. There's quite a few things you can have control over. You can control how much the maximum is you're willing to pay for each of your clicks. You can set a daily budget. You can determine which countries your ads will appear in, and you can even drill right down and say you want to appear to people in particular towns or cities, or for example, a radius of 25 miles around London. And you can control what times of the day or what days of the week your ads are going to appear as well. So because of this, AdWords has got quite a few benefits over other forms of advertising, and in particular over search engine optimization, over SEO. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to knock SEO. I think in an ideal world, a business should be doing both. You should be doing AdWords and you should be doing SEO. But I think for the majority of businesses, if you've only got the time or the budget to do one initially, AdWords is the one which is going to give you the quickest hit, basically. And that's for a number of reasons. Firstly, you've got a much higher degree of certainty. If you do SEO, there's no guarantee that you're going to get a page one listing. Whereas with AdWords, if you set it up correctly and you bid a realistic amount, you can basically guarantee you will be on page one of Google for your chosen search terms. It's also a lot quicker, because if you set it up in the right way, you'll be on page one typically within 24 hours of going live. As we said earlier on, you only pay for results, so it's a lower risk kind of marketing. And you're also going to get higher rankings, because as we saw in the screenshot just now, and there it is again, the top 3 AdWords results up here actually appear above the organic results. So even if you do SEO and you get to number 1, you're still going to be halfway down the page with 2 or 3 AdWords results appearing above you. Then we've got the fact that it's highly targeted. You're only showing your ad to people who've expressed an interest in your products and services by typing something appropriate into Google. And as we saw with that graph earlier on, you've got a higher quality of traffic. So because of all these things, it's likely to give you a much faster return on investment. And lastly, it's really easy to measure your results, because Google will give you all kinds of stats about how often your ads have appeared, how often they've been clicked, and they can even tell you how many of those clicks have led to someone submitting an inquiry or buying something on your website. Now, of course, there are some drawbacks to it, the main one being that it's very easy, if you don't know what you're doing, to rush in, set AdWords up in the wrong way, and end up spending a lot of money in a short space of time and getting nothing back from it. And I do meet people quite often on our training courses who've done that, had to go and do it themselves, and it's not worked out as well as it should have, because they haven't set it up in the right way. So when we run the course, we spend a whole day taking people through all the things you need to get right to actually get good results from it and get a decent return on investment, from choosing the right keywords, writing your adverts correctly, and getting the account properly structured. And when it does work, it can work really, really well. We've got a case study here to give you an example of that. A couple of years ago, I was approached by someone called Joe, who runs a catering company in the West Country, and only a small business, her and one other person, and she had a website that was not generating any inquiries for the business. And she wanted to attract people who were looking for a caterer in places like Bristol, Bath, Gloucester, the Cotswolds, all that kind of area. So what we did for Jo was we set up an AdWords campaign for her. So if someone typed in something like caterer Bristol or caterer Chipping Norton, an advert for her website, as you can see here, would appear at the top of the Google search results. Our existing website was pretty good. We didn't need to make any changes to that. All we needed to do was get people going to it. And we asked her to keep track of what kind of results she got. And even I was quite surprised by how impressive those were. By the end of the first week, the total volume of inquiries coming into her business had gone up by 300% as a result of this marketing campaign. And by the end of the first 10 weeks, she'd quoted for 27 grand worth of new business. She'd got £2,200 worth of confirmed orders off the back of that, and yet her AdWords spend, money she spent on her clicks, was only £470. So she got a return on investment of 468%, which obviously she was very pleased with. Now, the thing I would say to people on the courses is driving traffic to your website is actually only half the battle. Once you've got people there, the next challenge is how do you turn them from visitors into people who are making an inquiry or buying something or doing whatever it is you want to do. And we look at this on the courses, and people are always amazed by how a tiny, tiny change to your website could often have a really big impact on the level of inquiries or sales that you get. So I wanted to share with you a couple of the examples I've used on some of the courses recently. So here we can see 2 different versions of the same web page, and it's from a website for a web design agency, and that was version A of their site, and then they had version B. Okay? Any observant people spot what the difference was between those two? So there's version B, now we are back to version A. What do you want? Yes? Yeah, you've got it there. The difference is the button here that they want you to click to get in touch with them. On version A it says free consultation, and on version B it says work with us. Okay, that was the only difference. They sent half their traffic to version A and half to version B, and they measured which one got more people filling in their inquiry form. So, the difference was quite big. It was 171% more inquiries from the winning one there, so not just a tiny difference. So, show of hands, who thinks version A, the free consultation one, got the most inquiries? Okay, who thinks version B got the most inquiries? And who's too shy to put their hand up at all? Right, I think version A is the audience vote there, so let's have a look. It's actually version B that got the most inquiries. So it goes completely against what your gut instinct would be. You know, it's quite fair to assume people love a free offer, love something free. But in this particular case, it's not going to be the same for everyone, but what we can say is that for this particular website and for their particular audience, version B got them 171% more inquiries. So just making that very small change got them a much higher level of inquiries. Another example here, this is a company who do energy performance certificates, you know, the things you need when you're marketing and putting your house on the market. And they did version A, and where the only thing they changed in A and B was the bullet point text here in the middle. And in version A, they basically said they supply thousands of EPCs and they can do them all across the country, any size house. In version B, they went for a slightly more more stick approach as well. You've got to do this. They said, although the government's got rid of HIPs, you've still got to have an EPC and you've got to have it within 28 days of putting your house on the market. Okay? And again, big difference in the results. One of these got 92.7% more people clicking on the request a quote button. So who thinks version A, the sort of more upbeat one, got the most inquiries? One person. Who thinks version B? Okay, big difference there, big difference. Well, lady at the back hiding behind her coffee cup, you were actually correct. It was version A that got the most people. But again, very small change, massive difference in the number of inquiries. Okay. So I said as part of this, I would give you some ideas for 7 things that you could do to improve your website. So these are 7 different areas in which you could try making small changes to your website, which could very well have the kind of big difference in results that we've seen in those examples there. So the first one is headlines. Okay, some of you may be old enough to remember all of these headlines when they first came out, quite well known, quite famous. But just as newspapers have headlines, most pages on your website are going to have some kind of big title headline at the top of the page. And that's one of the most important parts of the page. And yet, so often I see people wasting it by having a really sort of drab, uninteresting headline. The classic one being, welcome to our website. Okay? I'm sure there are some people who have that on their site. If you don't, you've certainly seen it on other people's. And it's really bizarre. Welcome to our website. What does that do to grab people? No one would send out a leaflet or a flyer that said at the top, welcome to our flyer, would they? They'd put a catchy headline there, but people on the web, for some reason, they sort of lose common sense with it. The headline needs to be something punchy, that's going to grab people's attention, just like all of these ones do here. All these headlines, they're all slightly different styles, but they all make you want to read on and think, what's this story about then? So on your website, have interesting headlines and vary it. Try out different variations of a headline and see which one's going to work best. And the second one, have a unique selling point. So hopefully everyone's business has got a unique selling point, something that makes them different from everybody else. If you haven't, you can walk to get one. And once you've got a USP and decided what it is, make it really clear on your website. So this example here, this is from an online estate agent, and their USP is that they reckon they can sell your house a lot quicker than a traditional high street estate agent. So they're shouting about it really clearly at the top of every page. Because when people come onto your site, you've only got a few seconds to impress them and stop them clicking the back button and going back to Google and looking at a different competitor's site. So whatever your USP is needs to really leap out and grab their attention straight away, give them a reason to stay and read on and explore the rest of your website. Then we've got guarantee. It's a really good thing in your business to have some kind of guarantee, something that reassures people and makes them feel more comfortable buying from you. I've got the John Lewis one there is a classic one, never knowingly undersold. Works really well because people go to John Lewis and think, well, I don't need to go shopping around. I know if I buy it from here, I'm going to get the best price. So it overcomes that objection, that fear of purchasing. So if you've got a guarantee in your business, make sure it's really clear on your website, because again, it's something which will reassure people and make them more likely to stay on your site rather than going off and checking out a competitor. Fourth one, it's really important to build credibility. In an offline business, you have someone walks into your shop or into your office, you've got the opportunity to engage with them, make eye contact, chat to them, build up a bit of a rapport, convince them that you're a nice, trustworthy person to do business with. But on the web, you don't have that. So again, you've got to really quickly convince them that you're trustworthy, reliable, etc. So any of these things that you can do on your website will help achieve that. So have testimonials on there. Ideally have little testimonial snippets on each page rather than just one page with all of them in one place. And customer reviews, accreditation logos. If you belong to any kind of industry body or anything like that, put logos on there. To be honest, a lot of the time people looking at a site won't have a clue what the logos mean and how easy they are to get, but just having them on there gives them a warm, fuzzy feeling and reassures them. Similarly, if you've entered any business awards or stuff like that, put the logos on there. And finally, make sure your contact information is really easy to find and you've got full contact info. A lot of websites, they just have an inquiry form with no phone number, no email address, no postal address, and that can put people off because you want to know that if there's a problem or a query, it's going to be easy to contact the company and deal with it. So don't just hide behind an inquiry form. That kind of thing puts people off. Next one, I think we're on number 5 now, is have a good call to action. Now by call to action, what we're talking about is it will vary from one website to another. When someone comes on your website, there will be something that you want them to do, whether it's pick up the phone and talk to you, put something in their shopping basket, etc., etc. Whatever your call to action is, what I tend to say to people is you've got to basically assume that the visitors to your website are either a bit lazy, or a bit stupid, or maybe both. And you've got to grab them by the hand and lead them towards whatever that end goal is that you want them to do. So in this example here, website from Companies Made Simple, who do company formation services. The main thing they want people to do when they first go on the site is search and see if their chosen company name is available. So hence we've got in the middle of the page this big prominent box with a graphic there to make it stand out and an instruction. Search now to see if your name's available. And then over here we've got a secondary one, click to form your company. So the instruction, click here and telling you what will happen when you do. It'll be start the process of forming your company. Alternatively, if you want people to phone you up, if that's the call to action, have a prominent phone number on the site. Have it in more than one place, like we've got here. And also give people the option, if they don't want to ring you, give them an alternative. They can fill in a form and request a call back instead. So you're catering to different people's wishes as to what's the way that they want to make the contact. Number 6, have video on your website. Different people take in information in different ways. Some people like reading stuff, other people prefer to watch a video and see it presented like that. So having video on your website really makes a difference to conversions. It's been proven one of the best ways to increase the conversion rate of your site because it's so easy to do. Just you can be as simple as having someone sitting in the audience, having a flip camera pointing at you, and then put it onto YouTube, embed it into your website. And finally, remember that less is more. People have got short attention spans on the web, so when you're writing content for your website, keep the paragraphs nice and short, don't go on and on for ages, it's hard to read. Use simple language, don't get bogged down in technical speak, keep it nice and simple for people, and use bullet points to break up your text so it's not a big lump of text that's going to be off-putting. Any order forms you've got on the website or any inquiry forms, they should be kept as short as possible. So, if you don't need to know what someone's salary is or what their inside leg measurement is, don't ask that question on your inquiry form, because the more questions you ask and the more intrusive you are, the more people will abandon the form halfway through and not finish filling it in. And finally, have a nice simple design. Don't let a web designer talk you into having lots of fancy bells and whistles and flash animations, whatever, on your site. You don't generally need it. If you think about some of the most successful websites like eBay or Amazon, their design is really, really simple. They work because it's nice and simple and uncluttered, but really easy to use, really easy to navigate. So bear that in mind as well with your own websites. So there are several ways. As I said, we go into those in a lot more detail. We look at others on the AdWords courses and the analytics courses that we run. I also have an 8th way for those of you here today as well, bonus for you. You can come over to Stand D42 and have a chat to us. All the trainers from Business Training Made Simple are over there, happy to answer your questions, talk to you about your own individual websites or your social media strategy or anything like that, so do come over and pick our brains. And the final thing to leave you with, just one more example of the way you can drive traffic to your website. It's actually been in front of you throughout the time you're watching this presentation. If I zoom out, you'll be able to see it. That is QR code. Good way to drive traffic to your website now. So if you want to visit our website, you can actually scan that one, or you can scan the one that's on the card that's on your seats. And as a thank you for coming here today, we're offering everyone who's been to the seminar, been to the exhibition, a £20 discount on any of our training courses. So if what you've heard here today has whetted your appetite and you want to take us up on that, then please do so. We've got time for questions. Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes. If anyone's got any questions now, feel free to throw those at me. Yes, gentleman there.
You said about video.
Yeah.
Where would you put it? Would you put it on the heading page, and how long would you keep it to?
As with a lot of these things, there's no right and wrong answer to that. The gentleman's asking basically what page of your site would you put the video on and how long should the video be. I would say sort of rule of thumb, not more than about sort of 30 seconds to 45 seconds. But again, you know, you could try out different, you could have 2 or 3 different videos and try them out and test and measure them, and using something like Google Analytics, you can then actually see from that which one's keeping people on the site longest, which one's leading to the most conversions. Any others? Yes.
Yesterday talked about Google Panda updating your site, and you know they're updating Google Panda versions all the time on people's sites and dropping it down because Google has decided. I didn't really understand what you're on about.
Okay, the question there is basically what is Google Panda? What's Google Panda all about and what's it doing? This is another reason why SEO can be a bit challenging. Google Panda is to do with search engine optimization. So when I said that you put something in and Google gives you the organic results saying these are the sites that are most relevant to what you've typed in, the way Google ranks sites for SEO purposes changes from time to time, and Panda was one of the updates Google did recently where they rejigged the whole way they rank websites. So basically you've got people there who have done all this work to optimise their websites, and then suddenly Google changed the rules overnight and everything changes, and people who were on page 1 suddenly aren't anymore. So that's basically what he would have been talking about there, whereas with AdWords it's a much it's not subject to those kind of changes in the same way, so it's a lot more consistent. Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. As I say, if you've got any other questions or you think about the data of the day, we're at D42 all day. Do come over and see us, and do stick around as well if you want to learn about social media. Michelle will be on in 15 minutes telling you all about social media. But thank you very much.
Thank you.